Okay, hello, I'm Alice. I'm here with... Tell us who you are and what you do, man.
My name's Mitch. I play in some local grindcore bands, punk bands and stuff. I play in Ate and Fentanyl Tapwater, This World Is Dead. I got some out-of-town projects as well, too.
So, let's kind of start being like what really got you into music as a whole, right?
Yeah, so I mean, music, like, it definitely just comes back to, my dad was just a classic rock head. You know, he just listened to a lot of Rolling Stones, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. Insert dozens of other bands here and there. Basically just kind of like going through his CD collection, looking at artwork and stuff. I feel like artwork is kind of what drew me into a lot of the releases at first, and then, kind of eventually just like, oh, Dad, can I listen to this? And then, eventually it was just like, okay, I'm starting to collect my own, actual physical media and stuff, just CDs and stuff like that. And then that I already played in my school band at the time. I played oboe from 5th grade to 12th grade. Started playing guitar when I was 16. Played bass as well too. Picked up drums the year after, and started just a garage rock band with a buddy from high school, and things kind of ended up spiraling out into me just being a grindcore dude. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned your dad was a classic rock head. So then how did you get into grindcore specifically, right? Where did that happen?
Definitely. So I would say just kind of maneuvering down subgenres and stuff like that. I kind of, went from classic rock into getting into prog rock, and from prog rock I kind of started getting into jazz fusion and stuff. It's my most notably Mahavishnu Orchestra. That is definitely, I mean, that's the first band I ever listened to that had double bass on it. Billy Cobham is a monster, but jazz fusion started leading me just down sort of just weird other sort of pathways along with the prog rock and stuff. And I would say the band that really did it for me was finding Primus. Getting into Primus, and then I think
Primus is the ultimate grindcore gateway band. Is that what I'm hearing?
It is for me at least. I'm sure there's a few other selective individuals out there that have a similar pathway, at least maybe not identical, but. But yeah, I would say that that's probably the first heavy band that I got into. Saw them live a couple of times, I think 2018, 2019 in Rochester and Buffalo, and kind of that definitely just started heavy music for me. I kind of I met I have an older brother. It's 8 years older than I am, and I just met one of his mutual friends that he happened to go to school with in his time, and dude was giving me a ride home one night and was like, "You like black metal?" And I was like, "Never really listened to black metal before." And he was like, "All right, let's listen to some Dark Throne." He just blasted Dark Throne for the 20 minutes that he was driving me from the city into Henrietta to drive me home. And that was definitely my gateway getting into grind, just getting into heavier and heavier subgenres over time. Yeah. Definitely, eventually you're gonna get into just just outright metal, metal. It was mostly just black metal and death metal that kind of piqued my
listening to
interest.
Transylvanian Hunger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All their early records. I was definitely a huge Mayhem guy. Got my dead tattoo.
I noticed that on there. Yeah. Wait, you want to bring that a little closer? I didn't get that on camera.
Yeah, definitely. Just getting to black metal, getting to death metal. Eventually, I just started seeking out faster and faster bands and stuff like that, and that led me to grindcore. So now here I am.
Hey. So
do you remember your introductory band to specifically grindcore, being interested in that?
That's a great question. I can't remember specifically the actual first band I ever listened to, but I know Magruder Grind was definitely very much one of the first bands that I really kind of latched onto at that time. R.I.P. Sucks that their fucking vocalist is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
But what are you gonna do? Played with Chris Moore a few years back. Said great set, so that meant the world to me. As he was the first grind drummer I ever got into, so that was really cool. But yeah, I think Magruder Grind. I definitely was also very much at the same time treading the line between grind and gore grind as well too. Dead Infection was definitely one of the first bands that I really got into as well too. So that kind of got me into the whole gore sort of subsect as well too.
Sure enough.
So like kind of on that topic of like music, and you mentioned having like meeting these drummers and stuff. Like, is there anything you specifically want to like accomplish with your music? Like any kind of goal, or just what are you doing with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really just like I love playing live. Yeah, it's just such a blast just getting in front of people that you don't know and just playing what you make, playing what makes you happy, and see what they think about it. I really like, no matter what the reactions are, like I love it. I mean, I've literally, I pulled up and played, I used to have an old core grind project called Bloat, and I pulled up to a little town called Norwich, New York at one point and played a like little, like, I think it was like a maybe like 70 or 80 person like kind of like festival weekend event, but I played a solo core grind act. And
hell yeah.
I mean, there was two guys that were even paying attention at all. They seemed to really enjoy it. Everyone else did not like it, I guess. So it's definitely really cool. So yeah, I mean, really just like playing in front of people, and honestly, like I feel like more than anything, like this is kind of like as I've like kind of been playing throughout the years, active in the scene and touring and stuff like that for I would say about like 4 or 5 years now. Like I'm starting to do longer and longer like out of town runs and stuff, and it's definitely like kind of getting to the point where like like it might realistically be in the wheelhouse of I might be able to like figure out how to tour like Europe like
Dang.
in the next like several years or so.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many projects you've been in and like have done so far? Like, can you even count that many?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, like Bloat was my first ever like grindcore project. That was a solo project. All the recorded stuff is solo, but I had people playing with me live and stuff. So Bloat lasted for about like 3-4 years or so. It's still technically active. I'm just
indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, I'm just not really like totally invested. I'd much rather be playing in actual bands with other people, have more of like a kind of like a creative, collaborative sort of like thing going on. But yeah, Bloat is what kind of like started me into everything. I started like my actual first like grind band, Electric Bath, very soon after. Who my like main guitarist in Bloat was Ash, who was my bandmate in Electric Bath. So yeah, we rocked like those two projects for a few years. I also had like some side projects going on, like Noxious Gash was like a noisecore project that Ash and I performed in from time to time. Did a few recordings. I had a gore noise project called Colonic Pseudopolyps. Had another gore noise project called, insert name here, Rapid Decay. That's what I called it. I think I put out 2 releases, and that's when I realized the world doesn't need more gore noise. I'm not contributing anything of value, so I'll leave the legends. God bless you, Zach Fogel. I see you out there. So yeah, I'd say that's 5 projects. I played in Hallucination Realized for a while as well too. I was never really like a huge like creative in the band or anything like that, but I did play bass for them for 3 years. So shout out those boys. I mean, Tim and Tyler like definitely like helped like put me and my grind projects like on the map, kind of like helped me start getting on shows and stuff like that. So that was definitely a huge contribution to me. And then from there I joined Fentanyl Tapwater, started doing vocals, playing bass for them. I started up Ate with Tim as well too, a few years back. I think we're going our 3rd year now, I think. And then got another grind band going with Tyler right now, This World Is Dead. And then I played in some like out of like kind of like remote projects as well too. I recorded in a gore noise project called Calcified Fetus for a while with this dude that I used to know from Ohio. I had like kind of a mortician worship project with my buddy Jay from the band Rot Bus from out in Boston, Massachusetts area, called Cadavered. I also have a newer remote project called Malarkey out as well too. And I think that's about it. I think that's all the bands.
You played another noise show with like Punt and Ryosuke Kiyasu.
Oh yeah.
Was that like Hot Rats?
I also do have a solo grind project. Thank you so much for reminding me. Called Hot Rats as well too. which I'm thinking about killing that project as well too. I recorded a demo when I was sick for like a week and a half.
Oh, damn.
I was just holed up inside and was just going crazy. So recorded a demo, recorded all programmed drums, and I was like, I could play sets live like that. But very much like the same thing with my other solo projects. Like I'm much more into the collaborative sort of
That's pretty
sort
fair.
of things and stuff like that. So yeah.
So you mentioned like all these like bands and moments you've been involved in. Like what's your favorite moment as like a performer, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't know if there's like a single moment that that like comes to mind necessarily. I mean, I like one of those moments might be just like the Electric Bath Rotwell tour. Partnered up with Putrid Liquid as well from back in 2023, I believe that was. That was just like the first like longer tour that I've ever booked. We did 9 days, and it was a fantastic time, despite me having like strep throat for like 4 days on the road. And I had to like cover for Rotwell's drummer for the last like 5 days of tour as well too. So I was playing like 2 sets every night for 5 nights while I was recovering from strep throat. A fever dream type stuff, but
you're strong for
like
it though.
But I would say like all the other moments are really just like the fests that I've like been so fortunate to get added onto and stuff like that. It's super humbling, and also like I feel like something to fuel my ego at the same time. I have to be careful with myself, but like I'm getting to play like. I'm 5 years into this, and I'm already like I've played with so many of my favorite bands within my genre already.
It's awesome.
Like we're about to do a run in July with Disease. Disease is my favorite.
Oh, I saw that they started posting that stuff.
Much love to Chris and Jim. Those guys are the shit. And yeah, I would never have imagined after playing with them like 3 or 4 years ago in Rochester that we would be doing a run with them. But yeah, I would say like just meeting like all my heroes and shit like that. All these like guys that I like, all these artists and bands and stuff that I just like respect the hell out of and just listen to their shit and like just all the time. Like it's so cool. It's so cool.
So kind of in that same vein, you obviously are like a big fan of a lot of these other bands. Do you have like an iconic or favorite moment that sense that it's just like a viewer watching someone else perform?
Yeah. I mean, it was the one that comes to mind at least is Barely Breathing 2 years ago. Fentanyl Tapwater played. We were doing a weekender with Leaking Head around that. They played as well too. The headliners for that year was Archagathis, and they literally flew in for that gig from what they're like West Canada. I don't even know where in Canada exactly they are. But yeah, I mean, they had like a freaking like 12-hour, 13, 14-hour flight to like get there. They got there like literally like they were playing last that night, and I think they showed up like an hour maybe before their set. Needless to say, they did not have any gear whatsoever.
Because they flew in, right?
Yeah. And we played like right before them, and they were like, "Yo, we borrow like everything." So it was like, yo, like one of my favorite bands getting to play on all my gear, and I get to watch them. Like that's fucking wild. It's such a weird thing, but it's so cool.
Okay, so now let's kind of like hone back in on just like the local scene. Like, what does it mean to you, right? Because you've been involved for a long time. You helped organize and put on shows. Like, what does the scene mean to you? And like, what like stands out and makes it special for you?
I mean, I would say like I don't know. I feel like part of it is like, I mean, grindcore is obviously a very, very niche subgenre. Not many people have it on their radar, and on top of that, not many people like it, which is totally understandable. It's not for everyone.
You're not going to go up to somebody at a show here and go, "Oh, have you listened to Morgtar?"
No, exactly. So it's like, I work at a music store, and like I get asked constantly like, "Oh, you play bands? Like maybe I can listen to your band," by these like sweet like just all sorts of people, from like kids to like grown adults and like older people, and like very rarely am I actually giving anyone any of my actual music to listen to. But yeah, and I don't know, it's like one of those things, like it's just like, hey, let's just put it on the map for as many people. And it's as much as like I never thought that I would necessarily take off locally here or anything like that, like it definitely seems like a lot of people, especially the younger crowd, that you know, have just been getting into their local music scene over the past like 5 years since I've been, you know, starting to do all this stuff. Like, a lot of them seem to really resonate with it. Whether, you know, I know that a lot of them, they don't really necessarily care that it's grindcore, but they're more into the fact that it's just like, whoa, this is like nothing that I've ever heard before. And like, I think that that's really cool. Like, you know, breaking down those barriers and stuff like that, you know, no matter what the genre pool is, whether it's like noise or, you know, free jazz or, you know, grindcore, or, you know, anything in between like that. Like, it's definitely cool to just, you know, be repping that sort of stuff, even if it's not necessarily the most popular sort of thing. Like we said earlier, like, it's just like, I just love making what I make, and, you know, if the byproduct happens to be that people like it, like, that's just a plus at the end of the day. But yeah, I would say like the other part is just like, I don't know, just like the continuation of like kind of like just DIY in Rochester and stuff. I started going to shows back in 2016. I was lucky enough to know a guy who knew a door guy at the Bug Jar for like the first 2 years while I was still not 18 yet. So I just got to like see a bunch of really sick like local metal bands, like touring metal bands and stuff. And like more than anything, big ups Tim Avery, Vineyard Community Space. Vineyard was where I first started getting, you know, where I first started booking shows at back in like 2016, 2017. And Tim Avery like kind of helped make that happen. He was, you know, a pillar of the Rochester DIY scene. And like, I feel like a lot of the things that you see nowadays in Rochester, if not like just Western New York in general, like, are definitely like, you know, thanks to him, as well as like so many other people from, you know, our past and stuff like that as well too. You know, from people that, you know, none of us even know to, you know, people that are still, you know, show up to gigs and stuff like that here and there and, you know, continue to support the scene and stuff. But yeah, I feel like, you know, Vineyard closed down, I think, in 2018. It might have been even 2017 or so. And Rochester was kind of left in like a kind of a gray area for a while. Luckily, like the Chaos Compound opened up.
R.I.P.
Yeah. You know, open for a brief year, but definitely like helped get like the underground DIY, like the heavy, like the punk, sort of like DIY sort of stuff like rolling in Rochester.
Was No Car like open as a thing before that or no?
So yeah, North Street. I mean, North Street has been, you know, like a venue in operation, like, you know, kind of on again, off again for years and years, as far as I know. I don't really have any exact dates or anything like that. I really only started going to
No Car Lago.
Yes. So like No Car Lago, that's like the current kind of like iteration of North Street right now. But overall, it's just like North Street. That's just like kind of like the spot that those two kind of like buildings are in. They've, from what I understand, they've kind of like had shows kind of hosted in different sort of sections of those places and stuff.
Fair enough.
But yeah, luckily, you know, Tom from the Chaos Compound, you know, he ended up moving in there, I think when he moved to Rochester originally, and yeah, slowly started kind of getting things set back up for like getting shows back, going back at North Street and stuff. And yeah, we've kind of been starting to see, you know, kind of, it seems like, you know, at least like a show a month or so, if not like a couple a month, you know, they kind of pull up there. So yeah, definitely, you know, the few, the strong in Rochester.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of like on those different spaces, like what has been like one of your favorite places to play at, out of like those DIY scenes that you mentioned?
Like in Western New York? Or?
Yeah, let's just say like local area, like DIY venue. What's been one you've enjoyed playing at a bunch?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, besides like the obvious, like, you know, Psychic Garden, I feel very blessed to, you know, have been running shows here for a few years and stuff like that, and just like booking shows here and playing here constantly. I would say like my favorite spot, like just Western New York in general, has to be Amy's Place.
Buffalo.
Amy's Place, Area 54, Cafe at Amy's, definitely unmatched. I'm just like in love with the Buffalo scene. I started playing in Buffalo back in like 2022, I think. Electric Bath. Ash and I played there in like the dead of winter in like a snowstorm one time. We were running so freaking late, and and we freaking pulled up, and Amy's place was freaking sold out. Like there was
Oh my
90
God.
people there. It was so hot, so
And it's
uncomfortable.
It's a small space
It's
too, right?
so small. I mean, yeah, we showed up like in the middle of the second band playing, and we were lugging our amps through the entire crowd and stuff. Like, okay, where do we put our stuff? But yeah, I don't know. I've just been obsessed with Amy's place and just like, you know, the Buffalo scene in general ever since then. It's definitely the people that I've met out there, the few bands that I do know of out there that you know, that I rep constantly, like, you know, Piss Guzzler and Bile
Yeah.
Study that are playing tonight, as well as like my homies and like Muddle, Torture Agenda, Grillth, Havana Syndrome.
Eight isn't a
amongst
Buffalo
other-
band, are they?
What's that?
Is Eight a Buffalo band, or am I?
So we kind of joke that we're a Buffalo band. We've played 1 or 2 shows where on the flyer for the show in Buffalo, Ate has been labeled as a Buffalo band, like as a local band. And before that, Tim and I even like started joking about like, yo, like I think we play Buffalo more than we play Rochester. Like I think we're just a Buffalo band now.
Buffalo in nature.
Yeah.
In spirit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just love their scene out there. Like they definitely like do DIY so well. You know, big ups to my friends at, you know, the Lavender Room and stuff. Jer actually from the Lavender Room, one of the main organizers, actually like came out to probably like my second ever like Bloat set.
Oh wow.
And like yeah, that was like, I think it was like a show in my parents' garage. Like I think Ash and Jer went to school at, I believe, Nazareth together. And yeah, that's when I first met Jer, and you know, we've been homies ever since then. And now, you know, instead of Jer coming out to my shows and stuff like that, like I'm pulling up to Jer. But yeah, I would say like, yeah, Buffalo, Amy's place, definitely a place to be.
So then, what would be like your dream venue to play if you could just pick any one spot?
Yeah, so dream venue, like without a doubt, hands down. I mean, like I would say there's 2, like the realistic one, basically anywhere in Southern California. I love California. I worked out in California for like a year at one point after I graduated from high school. And just love the area. I love like just like the nature out there and stuff. I was like stationed out in Northern California, but I've never really been able to see SoCal before. But Bloat was very, very popular in Southern California. That was definitely where the majority of my fan base for Bloat was stationed at. Was just like LA and around there and stuff like that. So
LA loves
it's been the dream of mine to get out there and play there. So that's like the achievable goal. Hopefully within the next year or two we'll be making our way out there. But I mean, like the bucket list venue, Obscene Extreme, Czech Republic.
Oh wow.
Oh
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
check it out.
I know.
That would be so much fun.
SoCal does have like a kind of big like mints and grind scene right now. I
do.
feel.
Insane. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they have like big like underground punk and like
Yeah.
DIY stuff.
You've seen these clips
LA
of
goes hard
like
for their music.
you've seen these clips of like people gathered in like this
Like Dead City
big spot, and then you got like police helicopters trying to shut down the place.
and everything
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, it definitely happens from time to time.
Yeah, no, very excited because I'm actually from SoCal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm going back at the end of the month, and I'm excited to go hit up some shows back home.
Heck yeah.
It's gonna be so good.
They always look like a blast out there.
Oh, they don't like, because you also have that nice thing of like, you have so many different people because it's such like a transplant city. So you get so many like crazy people just doing the wildest shit you can imagine, and it's like, yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
No, but so what venue? So I guess with that, like, what is maybe if someone wants to get into grindcore, what should they listen to? What should they do if they want to be like, this is weird and neat, but I don't know where to start?
Sure. That's a great question. I mean, that is like, I mean, as if, you know, with every other genre, it's just like, you know, the bands that I might recommend, you might not like at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say like start with like Napalm Death.
Of course.
You know, listen to Scum.
Yeah.
You know, just blast that. Start from there. I would say that is definitely like, I feel like a lot of people's like kind of gateway into getting into grind and stuff like that. You know, very, very, you know, early sort of, you know, grindcore, so definitely a lot of like crust punk influence, a lot of just like
Power violence.
a lot of, you know, like metal sort of like tinge thrown in there and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say like start with a band like Napalm Death. I would say like, you know, listen to like Discordance Axis, another very much I feel like, you know, staple band for a lot of people. Right now, just because we were just blasting inside, and they just dropped like the most insane LP probably that's ever been done in grindcore, but Fake Dust, probably one of the most popping off West Coast grind bands right now. Absolutely insane album. Yeah, I would say like, yeah, just start with a few. Kind of see what you think, and you know, just kind of start going in any direction. I like my main thing for like discovering new bands and stuff like that is I just as an instrumentalist and stuff like that, I get like latched on to like, oh shit, like I love this drummer, like this dude blasts like fucking crazy. So then I just look him up on Discogs, I look up all the bands that he's ever played in, and I just start listening to those bands, and then it kind of just starts branching off, and that's like the cool thing with like grind, as well as, you know, a lot of like more underground genres and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of you know, bands doing like split EPs and stuff like that.
Fentanyl Tapwater.
Where like you know, bands will, you know, kind of have, you know, 5 tracks, and then they'll ask their homies in another band, or, you know, a band that, you know, they're not too familiar with, just anyone,
just do something,
you know, just like, yeah, do you want to like, you know, throw in like 4 or 5 songs, and you know, that's a great way for, you know, the fans of this one band that might not be so familiar with the other to kind of, you know, maybe find a new band and you know, kind of get into that and stuff. So it's like really just like with the world of like splits and stuff like that, like you can just go down so many freaking rabbit holes, and I would say that that is like definitely like the quintessential kind of way to get into it. And I mean, it's like I feel like it's a little bit more attainable, especially for like the younger generations nowadays and stuff like that. We're very much, you know, kind of like in the whole, I mean, my generation included, very much in the like, you know, very short attention span sort of thing. Which, yeah, sure, that's probably a reason why grindcore resonates with me so much. But it's definitely, you know, I feel like a great thing for getting into it. It's just like, you know, you don't have to sit there and listen to a whole album for 40 minutes. You're listening to like maybe like 15 minutes max for an album. I mean, Fake Dust just dropped the craziest LP of all time, and I think it's like 17 songs at 17 minutes. So it's like, yeah, that's perfect.
Like it's also like great like moving music, right? Like if you want to like get up and move around, it's great for that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I feel like it definitely makes you want to move. Kind of makes you feel a certain way for sure.
Like the energy is definitely more different than like any show I've been to, right? Because I've been to like screamo, hardcore, punk, but like grindcore just hits different.
It's funny, like I mean, like Tim and I have talked about it like quite a bit of just like, you know, sometimes we'll leave shows and be like, holy shit, like man, like Buffalo was fucking moving tonight. Like it was violent out there, like for our set. And then there's other shows where we play and we're like driving home and we're like, damn, no one was doing anything. Like, I think everyone was just like kind of just slightly overwhelmed enough that they were just like, I just have to stand here and just stare and just like try to figure out what the hell is going on. So yeah, I kind of like those two, the dichotomy of kind of, you know, playing grind shows and stuff like that to non-grind people especially.
Oh, that's always that is always fun with like kind of some of these bills where you get like maybe an opener who isn't like part of their normal like genre, and so it's like everyone just gets blasted with the shit that they have no idea about.
Punt, Jerry Biggs. Pick 3 and like Jerry Biggs playing the same bill like a month ago.
Yeah,
was definitely.
That was definitely one of those. So kind of on that, like if let's say someone wanted to just start like playing and doing shit like this, like what would you tell them?
Do it.
Just do it?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Nike.
I like literally, I started doing this from nothing. Like I literally just like, I would just sit in my parents' basement when I still lived with them, and I would just program drums. And I think at like one point I like ended up like with a collection of probably like 50 or 60 like songs, if not just like ideas for songs that I just had like banked up, and it was just like shit, I should start like doing something with this. So like, yeah, I just remember like one day I opened like think I just like downloaded like GIMP, the free like Photoshop program. Like made some like really stupid like just like digital collage sort of thing. Put out the first ever Bloat release, and yeah, it's kind of just been rolling since there. I mean, like it's funny enough that like I mean some of the songs from that like first release are like still some of like some people's like favorite like material that I ever did with that project too. But yeah, I would say like just freaking do it. There's literally no right or wrong answers. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, I mean, sure, there's a lot of gatekeeping and stuff like that within a lot of genre pools and stuff like that. And, you know, it definitely does happen within, you know, grindcore and stuff like that as well too. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's all art. It's all art.
Right.
Anyone can do whatever the hell that they want. Like I'm just like always in the camp of just like make sure it makes you happy.
Yeah,
that's very
true. It makes you happy. If it feels like a chore to you at all, you feel like you're like struggling through it, like scrap it, start over, maybe reevaluate. Maybe you need to like collaborate with some more people. But like just do it. Like there's so many tools nowadays for it. So.
So you also mentioned like a lot of musical influences on your work and like bands that you like. Is there any like non-music influence that like affects your work?
Not a ton. I've definitely been like very music minded for a long time. So I really just had like the itch to just like write and just like play my instrument and just kind of like write like that for the longest time. So I feel like it's like most of my influence does just come from like just listening to other really cool bands and stuff like that, and just kind of like taking some stuff that they're doing here and there, and kind of finding where it might fit within my musical vocabulary and stuff like that, and just trying to forming it into something that kind of works more for me. So yeah, I would say not necessarily. I definitely. I'm definitely into some visual art aspects and stuff like that. I would like to be more, but I'm definitely very much so like when it comes to art, like I'm a music guy through and through 100%. Yeah.
So then, like, what's your favorite song then? And favorite band, right? Like.
It's a hard question.
I mean, just
you can pick. You can list off a few of them if you can't think of one.
Just some of your go-tos, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. I like right now for Ate and stuff. We're kind of trying to harken back to a lot of like earlier grindcore. We originally kind of started out as a Mince project. Just kind of like trying to basically just be Western New York version of like Agathocles. But very quickly we realized like we're not that at all for sure. We're kind of doing our own thing for sure. But yeah, Razor Sharp Daggers by Agathocles, that's definitely like one of my favorite EPs in the genre pool. I'll say Fake Dust again. I've been jamming their new LP like crazy since it dropped a couple weeks ago. Yeah, at least like some. I'm definitely like I'm not going to be able to list any like song names within the grindcore pool. Half of them are just like medical terms and stuff like that.
Pathology stuff.
Ridiculous, just nonsense. But yeah, I mean I have some homies that I like really very much so like look up to in the scene. I've my buddy Max Rivera out in Chicago. He's got a super sick ore grind band called Organ Failure. He also has like some solo projects. Like Fulminate that are going on as well too. Brilliant Behemoth as well with his bandmate Liz. This dude from Texas, Zach Fogel. He's been like a huge influence to me and kind of like getting. I don't know, just everything he touches. I just love listening to it. He just has like a very well like thought out plan for everything he does, whether it's his harsh noise projects, his gore noise projects, his gore grinds, grindcore, noisecore, like it's everything he touches is gold. So much love to everything that he's been doing. Yeah, I mean I would really just say like just overall just like the West West US, like sort of like grind scene, like that is my bread and butter.
Fair enough.
Anything and everything that's going on out there right now is just pure gold. Had the pleasure of having Mormon Mincers through a couple
I
of
missed
dates.
that show. It was
That
so
show
good.
was so
in
good.
Rochester a couple of weekends ago, and then the Tuesday before that, I had 2 super sick bands from Phoenix come through, Gestation and Aftermath.
Awesome.
Yeah, just like everything that they're doing on the West Coast over there, as far as their grind scene at least, it has like that perfect like power violence flair where they're never sitting on a riff for too long, never sitting on a beat for too long. They're always moving around, keeping things interesting. And that's definitely like scratches a special itch inside of me. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of other bands here and there and stuff like that that definitely, you know, get in the honorable mention sort of category and stuff, you know. But I could definitely go on and on. And on.
Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, like
Anybody. It can be a band that it can be locals, it can be people you know,
like,
it can be
like
people
any
you don't
band
know.
you think people should check out, right?
I mean, I would say just like check out the shows I'm booking. Check out the bands that I play with when I play out of state. There's too many people to list, honestly. I have so many people to thank for so many different things in the scene that I'm in. You know, from my East Coast homies that I've, you know, played their cities a bunch of times, like out in Philly, Connecticut, Massachusetts, up to like Rhode Island, all the way down to like Richmond, Atlanta, and stuff like that. You know, definitely have a lot of friends here on the East Coast to give big ups to. I guess big ups, Ash. Ash is in Richmond. Check out Bacteria. One of the craziest like modern grind bands out there right now. Brian and Ian are bandmates. Absolute animals. Yeah, they're a treat. They'll be coming through here at the end of June here, so people will definitely have to tune into that. But yeah, I would say like just like if anyone is interested and wants to know like, oh, who does Mitch giving big ups to, just look at the flyers that my bands are playing on. All the bands that are on all those shows, they all get all the respect from me. So
So then where can people find all that info, right? Like
yeah, I mean, check out, you know, on Instagram. That's really the only place that I'm posting things up as far as, you know, shows, whether they're local or out of state and stuff like that. Mids.blazer, mids.blazer. That's just where I post all of my bands, like new releases, shows. It's pretty much just all my music stuff. I don't really post personal stuff on there, so check it out, yeah.
and so then I guess we got 2 more questions and then we can wrap it up. So this first one's a bit more serious, but you get to meet childhood you, and they see what you're doing now. How did they react?
I don't think I would understand at all. I was definitely like I would say like semi-sheltered kind of growing up. You know, I was the kind of the good like quiet like younger brother, and my older brother was definitely kind of the more rambunctious sort of. He definitely needed a little bit more attention and stuff like that when I was growing up. So, you know, I was definitely, I feel like left to some of my own devices and stuff growing up. And yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to like just music, like I literally, like music was not even on my radar until like I was like maybe 15 or 16. Yeah, I would say like 14 or 15 when I started getting into classic rock and stuff like that. And yeah, before then, it was just like, I just so happened to hear whatever was playing on the radio, wherever the heck I was, and it was just like, that's music, I guess. But yeah, I would probably be very confused. Probably very confused.
That's a good one.
Can I ask the last question? It's my favorite one to ask, and I've asked everybody this question every time we've done an interview. Aliens come to Earth, and you have to show them one song or artist. Who are you showing them? What are you showing them?
That's an interesting question.
It's a fun one to end on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't know. Like I don't think I would show them grindcore. I think that might have some bad consequences for Earth, depending on what their concept of art is up in space.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. Maybe a nice jazz fusion record. Maybe some like Steps Ahead. Maybe a Mahavishnu album. Like a huge I'm like really into like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. They're like one of my favorite like prog rock bands.
Not bad.
I'm blanking on the title of the album. They had a great live album where they were basically just doing just like a bunch of like kind of like renditions of like classical music and stuff like that. And I feel like it's definitely like one of those albums that I just keep on going back to and back to and back to and back to. Like almost every year, if not like multiple times a year, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that record. And I put it on. I'm
Fair
like,
enough.
oh my god, it hits just like the first time I listened to it. So yeah, I don't know, maybe something like that, or I don't know. I'm like really into like Terry Riley and his like early kind of like tape loop and like organ inspired like music, very like minimalist sort of droney sort of stuff. That's like, I don't know, it's one of my, it's kind of something that I listen to like kind of like it makes me feel peaceful, it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel a lot of things, kind of depending on where my head's at and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's definitely like an album that like moves me. The few of those albums that he put out back in the '60s definitely like are some albums that like move me like no other. And I feel like it's like just minimalist enough and like just very like textural, sort of like heavy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the Aliens might resonate with something like that. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. Again, thank you so much for your time and doing this with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for doing what you do.
Of
Yeah,
course.
No problem, and good luck on your set tonight.
Thanks so much.
We'll be filming it.
Yeah,
Don't feel anxious.
We'll get you some photos and everything.